Let's head back to the streets of San Francisco for the sequel to Dirty Harry. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is doing well out there. And today we're going to talk about the sequel to 1971's Dirty Harry, and that sequel is Magnum Force. This film was released December 25th, Christmas Day of 1973, almost 2 years to the day after the release of the original film. Now, the original film was a huge success for Warner Brothers and Clint Eastwood and Don Siegel. So they were very excited about the prospects of doing a sequel, and they had ideas off of the first Dirty Harry that were pitched to them. And one of them was from John Milius. He pitched this story, or this idea behind this movie, to Clint Eastwood, and Clint Eastwood loved it for a couple of reasons. Now, before I get into that, this movie is rated R. It's 2 hours and 4 minutes long. It's the longest Dirty Harry film, and it grossed $39.7 million upon release, which was a huge hit in 1973, and it actually made a little bit more money than the original Dirty Harry. And I gotta be honest up front, this is a great sequel, and I'm gonna pitch this. I'm not making any money off this, I'm just saying. I own this box set, I've had it for a while. You can still get this on Amazon for 30 bucks. It's a great set. All 5 movies, remastered, the sound is upgraded. There's great special features on here. It comes with some little knickknacks in there, like Dirty Harry's badge and his little car, ID card is in here, and there's a picture book in here for some behind-the-scenes photos. It's an excellent set. You can still get it on Amazon for 30 bucks. It's a hell of a deal for the 5 Dirty Harry films. Now, besides the pitch, like I said, John Milius pitched this to Clint Eastwood. It's based on the death squads in Brazil that took place before this film was made. And basically what it was, which was the inspiration for this film, was cops in Brazil, the system was failing them, putting away these hardened criminals. So they took it upon themselves outside the bounds of the law and started taking out these criminal elements into society in Brazil. And they called them the Brazilian death squads. Now they got out of hand and started doing political assassinations and such. But John Milius liked that as the inspiration for this film, and Clint Eastwood liked it because some critics after the first film accused the film of being pro-fascism, pro-authoritarianism. I don't think that's true. I've seen Dirty Harry many times. I don't get that sense, but that's what people were saying, and Eastwood thought this would be a nice way to put a mirror up to that and say, no, Dirty Harry is not a fascist. So basically the crux of this story, I'm not going to go through every beat of the plot, but let's go down the cast here. Ted Post came in to direct this film. He had worked with Dirty Harry. He worked with Clint Eastwood before on Hang 'em High and some episodes of Rawhide before this. Now, doing some research and doing some reading, some people that were behind the scenes there that did some interviews for a book about Clint Eastwood and his career say that Buddy Van Horn, who was the second unit director and worked with Clint Eastwood after this on some other films, was the second unit director on this one. They say that Clint Eastwood and Buddy Van Horn directed more of this film than Ted Post did. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what some people say. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, Clint Eastwood is back as Dirty Harry Callahan. We got the great Hal Holbrook, and sadly, he just passed away last week. He was a great actor, and if you're a horror fan like me, we all love him in The Fog as Father Malone and Creepshow. He was in many, many other films, a terrific actor, and he'll be sorely missed. Mitchell Ryan's in this film as another cop, McCoy, who's a friend of Dirty Harry's, and he was in Halloween 6. And David Soul's in this film as Davis. He's a traffic cop that just started on the force. And he's pretty much he's the main leader of this group of cops that go out to take the law into their own hands because they think the system has failed them. And he's great in this role, and he went on to do Salem's Lot. He was in Starsky and Hutch, many, many other things. We also got Tim Matheson as one of the traffic cops that's in with David Soul's character, and his name is Swede, and he was in Animal House. He was in other films, other TV shows, and he went on to direct TV as well. Robert Urick's in this film, too, as Grimes, another traffic cop, and he was in Spencer for Hire and many other things. And we also got Albert Popwell. I talked about him in the first Dirty Harry film. He's in this film as a scumbag pimp who meets an ugly demise, but rightfully so because he is an asshole. But he'll show up 2 more times in this series. One more is not a full-on bad guy, and then he'll actually be a cop in his last appearance in the Dirty Harry saga, and we'll talk about that as we get to those films. And like I said, basically this film is we catch up with Dirty Harry later, and we get some more character beats for Dirty Harry. We learned a little bit more about Dirty Harry. We see his apartment where he lives, which is not a very nice apartment. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. And we actually see a picture in his apartment of him and his wife. We found in the first film that his wife got killed by a drunk driver. And we actually see Dirty Harry get intimate with a female that lives in the building, briefly. And Hal Holbrook plays this lieutenant that Dirty Harry butts heads with throughout the film. And we think they set it up. I'm going to give spoilers away. This movie's been out since '73. As these cops are going around. We don't see their faces. They hide their faces at first, but we kind of, if you're paying attention, you kind of get the sense that these new traffic cops are the ones doing this. They're going around and shooting up and killing all of these criminals that the system has let go, and they failed to put them in prison. And that's pretty, and they're excellently staged. I gotta say, the directing in this film is excellent. It's on par with the first film, and all the action scenes are great, well shot, well staged. The action's great in this film. There's more action in this film than there is in the first one, for sure. We see Dirty Harry going about his day-to-day business with his new partner, and we see him getting into different situations with criminals. But we see these cops going out and doing these assassinations. And as Harry's doing his investigation into these killed, well, McCoy gets killed at one of these. Like, David Soul's character is coming out after he just did this hit, and McCoy surprises him and he shoots him dead. And this is what drives Harry to really find out what's going on. And as he putting the pieces together, he realizes that it's these traffic cops killing all these people. And at one point, we get this excellent scene in this parking garage where the remaining traffic cops confront Harry in the parking garage about joining them. And they tell him, like, you of all people should know the system has failed us, and we have to take this upon ourselves to right the wrongs that the system has failed to do. And Harry's like, I'm sorry, but you gentlemen have misjudged me. And they're like, well, you know the system's basically crap. And he goes, I hate this. Harry goes, I hate the system, but I'm not going to go out and start killing people for no reason. He goes, I think the system's crazy, and until somebody comes along with some common sense changes to it, I'll work within the system the best I can. And the cops go, well, we're sorry to hear that, and they take off. And this what leads us to the last battle between Harry and the remaining cops and Briggs. We find out Briggs takes Harry by gunpoint because he tells Harry that he's in with these cops. He recruited them to be his death squad, and all they're doing is killing criminals. And Harry's like, well, you killed McCoy too. Don't you think, well, who are you going to kill next? Somebody that lets their dog piss on their lawn? I mean, where does this stop? And McCoy's like, you're a dinosaur, Harry, and we're going to get rid of you. And basically, Harry knocks him out. And there's a there's a great lot of interviews on this Blu-ray box set, and Hal Holbrook says about how Clint Eastwood did all of his stunt driving. And when he's knocked out in the car, Clint Eastwood's actually driving down that curvy hill. And he said, I was actually scared for my life. I thought we were getting an accident, but we never got an accident. But I think Clint got joy out of giving me a scare. I thought it was a pretty cool little antidote. And then at the end of the film, Harry takes out the last Briggs and their last remaining David Soul's characters, last remaining cop, and Harry kind of walks off into the sunset, and that's the end of Magnum Force. This is a really excellent sequel, and it's almost on par with the first film. I almost like this film just as much as the first film, just a little bit below. But it takes an honest look at what happens when cops feel the system is not working in their favor and protecting innocent people. And they keep putting these people away, and the judicial system keeps letting these people out, and they're still committing crimes. And even Harry says, I understand how this could happen. You know, you work within the system, and the system keeps kicking you in the teeth. Eventually, you get sick of it. I mean, I'm not condoning anything that happens in this film, but you could see how somebody could justify going out and doing what they're doing in this film. And I think they take a nice hard look at it, and they treat it seriously during the film. And I think it's fascinating, honestly, to think about. And they pull it off nicely. I really like this film. It's an excellent sequel to the original Dirty Harry. I'm trying to think if I have any more trivia. Oh, after the scene in the garage where the cops confront Harry, when they drive off screen, when they were shooting the scene, all the guys on the motorcycles, those are real actors, they crashed into each other after they turned the corner. And when the director yelled cut, Clint Eastwood turned to the crew behind the camera and goes, I just got threatened by the Keystone Cops. I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, this is an excellent sequel. It has a great cast throughout the whole film. Everybody's doing great work here. The action scenes are well shot, well staged, well edited. It's beautiful to look at. It's well, there get some great shots of San Francisco and the Bay and the Golden Gate Bridge. I really like the sequel. I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. I gave the first Dirty Harry a 9.75 out of 10. 9.5 out of 10 for Magnum Force. If you've seen the sequel, leave a comment down below, let me know. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, join me here. It's free entertainment. Share this video, I greatly would appreciate that. I'll be back later in the week with a little film called The Reckoning that just dropped on VOD from Neil Marshall, who I'm a big fan of. Until then, I hope everyone's doing well out there, and I'm just going to leave you with this. Bye.